The Future of the European Union by Jessica Newby, Amanda Long, Anastasia Patcher, and Johan Antonio Cross-Vinegra. Our research question: how are the European Union policies affecting the acceptance and participation of concerning countries? On November 1st, 1993, the future of the country was outlined in a positive light. The European Union was formed with the goals of creating a barrier-free trade zone and enhancing wealth through efficiency in the marketplace. Since 1993, the composition of the European Union has changed significantly. And now, in 2016, it might change again. The policies and actions of the European Union have encouraged some countries, Kosovo, Serbia, and Turkey, to join the association, but others, such as Britain, are on the verge of leaving the Union. What has these countries ready to make such drastic decisions? How will this affect the future of the European Union? The world? There are currently 6 countries, 7 including Kosovo, waiting to be accepted or even just considered for joining the EU, some of which include Kosovo, Serbia, and Turkey. However, determining who may join the European Union is a long and complicated process, as there is a strict criteria for being allowed in, and each country has unique reasons as to why they are on that waiting list. For example, the breakaway territory of Kosovo has been unable to join because many countries, Serbia, Russia, China, and 5 of the 27 EU member states, still don't recognize it as an independent state. However, Kosovo is making progress towards EU accession by cooperating with the EU EULEX mission, which was established to help Kosovo fight crime and corruption. In order to eventually gain EU membership, Kosovo must further efforts to reduce or eliminate human trafficking, the gangs that smuggle drugs and illegal weapons, and also protect minority rights and the freedom of speech. Similarly, Serbia has been making slow progress as they applied for membership in 2009 and were only granted candidate status in 2012. Talks of accession began around 2014 because of the country's visible political courage and maturity in tackling difficult issues, as well as aspiring for better relations. Serbia has also signed a Stabilization and Association Agreement, SAA, with the EU, which includes provisions for future EU membership in exchange for commitments to political, economic, trade, or human rights reform in that country. Still, Serbia is unlikely to join the EU until at least 2020. Another unique case has been Turkey's journey to gain EU membership. Turkey is the longest waiting country on the European Union's accession list, as they applied for full membership in 1987 and were only confirmed as a candidate in 1999. Although Turkey met the last condition for accession's talk in July of 2005, it didn't ratify the customs union, and its ports and airports remained closed to Cypriot traffic, and the EU responded by halting accession talks in several policy areas. 7 years later, the EU and Turkey launched a positive agenda, highlighting areas where they could expand cooperation, but progress stalled as there were further complications between Turkey and Cyprus authorities. Turkey's negotiations have been overshadowed by concerns about freedom of speech and democracy in Turkey, treatment of religious minorities, women's and children's rights, civilian control of the military, and the Cyprus tensions, causing many politicians in the EU to want Turkey to have a partnership deal with the EU rather than full membership. Another concern is that such a large, mainly Muslim country would change the whole character of the EU. The European Commission has urged Turkey to strengthen democracy and human rights, underlining the need for deeper judicial reform. If Turkey can change their military-era constitution and bring it more into line with EU norms, Turkey is expected to be ready for membership in a decade or so. So, why are these countries fighting so hard to become part of the European Union? The European Union offers protection from tariffs and free trade between members. It also provides a common currency, the euro, and sets a widespread currency exchange fee. Those who are members of the European Union can travel freely between other member states. Participation also ensures no conflict between affiliate nations. Disputes are taken care of in accordance to rules set forth by the European Committee and Parliament. Overall, being a member of the European Union is financially favorable, so it's no wonder there is a waiting list. However, not everyone is swayed by the benefits. Great Britain is having a referendum this year to discuss their future with the European Union, that future being whether they are going to stay or leave. The Prime Minister, along with the Labour Party, SNP, Plaid Cymru, and even President Obama wants Britain to stay involved with the EU so that trade is easier with other EU countries. In addition, the flow of immigrants fuels economic growth and pays for public service. Britain's participation in the European Union creates a sense of security to those involved, as well as those who benefit from the procedure enforced upon Britain by the EU. The Independence Party, Conservative MP, Labour MP, and the DUP are all supporters of Britain's choice to leave the Union. Britain feels the country is being held back by all the rules and regulations of business. Britain also wants full control over its borders again, but even if Britain leaves the European Union, the country will still have to abide by all EU protocols for trading with other EU countries. Britain's exports would be subject to tariffs, and this could potentially end with a trade war between Britain and the European Union. This would then cause the destruction of Britain's export industry. The EU makes at least a 52% contribution to all trade of exports, meaning if that is no longer the case, Britain would start to see 10 to 15% tariffs on almost all products. Along with trade, this creates the risk of Great Britain becoming an isolated state. Employment laws and social protections would most likely be stripped away. Another danger Britain faces that comes along with leaving the European Union is the security of Britain's foreign car factories and industry. This part of the business employs at least 2.1 million people. The elimination of such business could push Britain into economic depression due to unemployment rates skyrocketing. Evidently, the departure of Britain from the European Union proves to be more damaging than beneficial in the long run. However, Great Britain finds the membership to be repressive. The additional level of institution takes away some power and responsibility from the country. There is also a policy present that prevents bigger or wealthier countries from exploiting smaller countries. Britain is also against the loss of control over what is sold and made in its borders. The policies developed by the European Union have caused many nations to join, but also prompted some into leaving the European Union. Kosovo, for example, has been trying to join the European Union despite many nations not seeing it as a nation. Serbia has also been having troubles joining, but unlike Kosovo, they will most likely join the Union by 2020 due to the Stabilization and Association Agreement. On the other hand, Turkey has gotten candidate status, but the European Union is having problems deciding whether to let a Muslim country be a part of the Union due to social issues. Great Britain wants out of the European Union because European policies were repressive towards Britain. Overall, being a member of the European Union is beneficial, but their invasive policies that take power away from the state have discouraged some countries.